unified thought.
If you want to accept reality, yes. Yes, I mean, coming together, union, love, union, shared identity is what we are. So if you want to accept it or to dream on, if you want to accept it, dream on is a separate thought, a separate appearance, and from that separate appearance, thinking from that separate appearance. But if you want to return to source, reality, as an effect, it would have to be a unification. When two or more of us come together, then that source is present. Yes, this would be about unified thought. The dream itself is a semblance of collective consciousness. But what is consciousness but to be aware of? If you're aware of a fictional self, you're actually not thinking.
Is unified thought controlled?
No, no. Witness the dream. We can dream. We're not controlled. You can imagine you're something else. You can imagine you're somewhere else. So that's the example, like we always say, Jikata. The dream itself is an example of the freedom of source, of heaven, of collective thought. Individual thought or a separate thought is an example of the freedom of thinking. You can think that you're not yourself, but it would just bring forth an illusion of shadow figures.
So are we just witnesses to unified thought, basically? Like the claimed founding forefathers witnessed by their signatures the Constitution. Are we just witnesses to this particular or our individual and collective thought? Are we just witnesses, like in a movie? Are we the theater goers and we're just watching this thing play out and we are sometimes engaged in it? Or is there something else going on? I'm going back, trying to get to the idea of controlling unified thought.
Well, again, I mean, you're in control. I'm getting an echo right now. You're always in control of your thought. You can either think you're not yourself, and then in doing so, you would conceive of seeing and thinking from that other self, shadow self, if you will. So that, in a sense, would be thinking, the source thought of that would appear to be autonomous, self-made, and self-thinking. But it would be delusional. Yeah. So it's a dream. If I think I'm the dream figure and not the dreamer, I'm wrong. And if I maintain a false narrative through that dream figure, the forefathers, for instance, that would be a false narrative that you're maintaining for value. Now, the 55 Freemasons that signed the Declaration of Independence, or the Constitution, I should say, and the preamble, they were dreaming a narrative. And they didn't deliver it to you for your signature because in order for there to be advantage to your appearance, it has to be compared to some other appearance. So that's the madness of the dream, is that we're conceiving to be something else, and then the only reference and relevance we have is comparison to a non-unified thought, a separate thought. So be sure that the forefathers, how can you have forefathers? Here's a question for you. Would be arguing and trying to maintain an advantage in position momentum. So the thought itself, a constitution that would connote freedom, is ludicrous. You're already free. You're dreaming, you're not. So again, the only thing everything we've always sought and desired was but to remember the truth about ourselves. You're dreaming, you're not yourself. In any dream, your goal is to awake. The only goal of any dream is to awaken from it. What could you weep for but your own source, your own innocence? The dream is about a contrivance, a fall, if you will, a guilt of falling. So the premise is guilt. The mechanism, the modus operandi is fear. So you will be in fear and competing with the other, shadow self, until you have a willingness to know yourself. And that's what you said, Jakata, is about unified thought. The conversation is about unified thought. Actually, when we come together in the conversation, it's the only time I'm actually agreeing to think. Otherwise, I'm in competition with you. I got to pay the rent before you. I got to pay the rent. So everything we're doing in dreaming is in competition with the other to maintain a semblance of security, which never comes, of course. But that's why we always have to be doing something to maintain that security. When in truth, the security's in. In dreaming, we look for the security without. And of course, we're not without security, so that's what the fear dream is about.
So can we say that that when we were nourished in the realm or nourished by the idea that the greatest pursuit that one could have is to engage in the pursuit for the American dream, those individuals who created that slogan or concept knew that it was a dream and clearly stated and called it and the American dream, which is very interesting because it appears as though we're being told what it is,
right,
but not really seeing it for what it is.
Well, I think that's our will. That's not their will. It's our will. We project it onto them because we have a will to dream. So they're just dream figures of ours that are doing what we program them to do. Yeah. So all cause and responsibility for the dream is, of course, with the maker, the dreamer. So I just project the responsibility for the making of my dream outward. So again, if I realized the appearance for value, which has no value, the knife that I hold against myself, was in my own hands, how long would I hold the knife? So it has to be projected out to the forefathers, to the Magna Carta, to King George, projected out to someone else. So it's like, anyone who's resisting the master, you, the maker, narrative, is a conspiracy theorist and crazy. But the conspiracy theorist is saying that the theory, the master narrative, is a conspiracy theory and that the heads of it are crazy. So they're actually, both figures are saying the same thing. And the conspiracy theorist said, well, why would they be so concerned with me if I was just crazy? And why would they just leave me alone? He's just crazy. Leave him alone. Don't pay any attention to him. It's because you're saying the conspiracy theorist is saying the same thing about the system. You're saying it's conspiracy theory and they're crazy. The thing that we're entertaining in the conversation, opening our minds to, is that they're both crazy. They're both crazy. Yeah. Each appearance, meun et tuon, is an agreement to appear as crazy. Not knowing themselves, not knowing the other. That's a willingness to be crazy. So, again, we're projecting our insanity outward. They're conspiracy theorists, they're crazy. Why doesn't the conspiracy theorist say don't pay any attention to the master narrative theorists? They're just crazy. Because they don't recognize that they're both crazy. That's why. And they fight them and they fight them. So it's like Hillary and Trump. I mean, they're both crazy. You know what I mean? So I don't choose between the two. I see them as free of their craziness. I release them from the modus operandi that I program. I program them. It's my dream. I program the dream. So forgiveness releases both the shadow self and the self from the contract, the fictional contract. So what I'm doing is logical in the conversation. I teach this to learn it. Logic is to forgive both parties. not to hold one accountable for the distress of the other. That's ridiculous. You couldn't make me dream if I didn't want to dream.
Right.
You couldn't cause me to appear not as myself unless I volunteered to do it for value.
Yeah.
So what we're holding an invaluable, a non-valuable thought for value. That is the mistake. We've discovered it in contract, legal contract, and we've also discovered it in esoteric dissertations about the search for knowledge, the search for the truth, the search for self-awareness. Yeah. So we.
So is this the reason why when 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 we're asked to discuss with people the idea that this whole creditor debtor idea concept should start first from the man or the woman looking at their own hand and the transformation of themselves from a natural man or natural woman to a debtor, that it wasn't forced upon them. No one kicked the door in and forced them to go down to do whatever. It was by their own hand, which is a hard idea to convey sometimes because we don't want to see our hand in the fabrication of our portion of the dream. Why is it that we're in, or that people are in self-denial? Is it because it's something that they don't believe that they could have done to themselves? Does that have anything to do with, why, people are frustrated? They don't want to see their own hand in it.
Well, again, it's like we talked about just before. It's if I knew it was in my hand, the knife was in my hand, I'm appearing not as myself, and in debt, fallen from grace. If I understood that it was in my hand, how long would we maintain the appearance for value? We would understand, you dropped the knife. So again, the only goal of the dream is continuance, continuity of dreaming, continuity of government. There's a corollary here. All we're trying to do is maintain the dream through a projection of my own responsibility for dreaming. So then I'm just a dream figure, you know what I mean? So actually you're the dreamer. And to maintain your dream, every conceivable concept of yourself in separation, a false appearance, is the ordering system of the dream. That's all it does. It tries to order that. So the only semblance of security that we can derive through the chaotic appearance of self-fractured, a fractured and fragmenting repetitious pattern, which would be a description of a dream, which is actually fractal science, fractal math, is to maintain the ordering system, which, as or Blair, Aka, George Orwell would say, would be to love the boot that you've placed on your face forever. So it's not a happy prospect. I mean, that's why a seed of every empire is the seed of its own destruction. The seed of this thought, to appear not as yourself, is the seed of its own destruction. The wages for the appearance and the point to view your own self-deception is death. So this is a death dream. It's a dream of death.
So we believe we can actually sustain and build on false projections.
Yes, that's what a dream is, of course, yes. I had a dream last night. I might have liked it and wanted to hit the snooze button, or it could have been a nightmare but either one. You can't be more or less than what you were. So both of them are crazy. So any pleasure or pain that we derive in this dream is a willingness to feel pain or pleasure. So it is voluntary. And you are in control of that thought. So again, the conversation is just about the thought, opening your mind to the thought that this is a dream. Everything is telling you that. It's a holograph. It's a computer generated. It's actually a unified field. It's actually string, but until we look at it, it appears as two particles in opposition to themselves. equal and oppositional. So it's wave. Everything's calm before we want to view it as a competition and appearance for separation. So the separation, the specialness that we're volunteering for value, is the goal. So we'll maintain that goal until we change our mind.
So we have become slaves to our senses.
We're a slave to that thought. Yeah, we're a slave to a thought that we want to appear not as ourselves for value. Yes, we're a slave to that thought until we change our mind. Yes, yeah. So the system is is that a tyrannical thought to appear not as yourself for value? Well, it's a false thought. So all false thoughts, all false ordering systems would be tyranny. Yes, you'd have to be maintained as that, and a fictional self would maintain a fictional ordering system. So the ordering system has no love for you, nor you of it. And that's just a fact of its conception.
But the ordering system is something that we created.
Well, again, it would be self-loathing. If you appeared not as yourself, it would be about self-loathing, a fear of self. You've removed yourself from yourself to appear as something else. That's self-loathing. The premise of the dream is self-loathing, yes. That's why the guilt of it, you loathe yourself, that guilt you project outward. I don't love this. I mean, I love this. It's them that I hate. It's a projection of this. You actually loathe this. You loathe the body for its weakness, and you try to change it to strengthen it.
Wow. So what would be the cure?
This is the cure. This is a talking cure. This is a, it's like you said before, Jakata. It's a unified. Now we're actually thinking together. So it's the talking cure. You know what I mean? So we're thinking. It's the thinking cure together. When two or more of us together, our source is present. We're not meon et tuon. We're coming together. What is mine and what is thine? We're coming together and seeing we have similar, not in appearance, but in cause. We have a similar distress that we're looking for the remedy to.
So the road to cure is unified thought.
Well, yeah, I would say that the appearance not to be yourself would be a willingness to appear as a separate thought. Yes, yes. So the cure would be the opposite of that. Can there be an opposite to yourself? No. The dream is false. What's false is false, and what's true is never changed. So, yeah, this would be a willingness to come together with that meun et tuum, what is mine and what is thine, the Latin. The coming together, the willingness, just for an instant, would be the motivation for unified thought, yes. Witness this conversation.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. I mean, because a lot of how we feel, what we think, what we believe, what we've led ourselves to believe, is somehow made clear by the unified thought. Because it appears as though you're slowing down long enough to be in a unified thought, to have a conversation about what we perceive as reality, or the lack thereof.
Well, again, the dream is a false narrative with a timeline. So yes, to unify your thought and to perceive the timeline, to be outside it, just for an instant, willingly, is to end all time, yes.
Wow. Is it possible to end time?
Well, the question would be better put, is there in a dream I had last night, is there a timeline in the dream I had last night? That's the better question. The timeline doesn't exist. The appearance is illusory, and the timeline, make no mistake, is illusory. We worship the timeline. That's a study of history. Yeah, we study it, we regurgitate it, we learn it to repeat it. Again, the dream is a repetitious, fragmented pattern. So we repeat it over and over again, and we're actually doing the same thing over and over again in our minds to appear as, not as ourself or value, to look for the value, to find the value alone in separate self. So that fragmented, repetitious pattern is repeated until we change our mind, until we've programmed the dream figure, the AI, an artificial intelligence. It's not us; it's an artificial intelligence. So we programmed it. The only way it's reprogrammed it is to rethink the programming. Right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because time is not measured by a clock.
No, I mean, there is no time. There is an eternal now that is joyous and extended forever. Yes. Extension is not time, is not linear. Just means what I give you, I have. So I want to give you everything I have to have more. And is there a need for more? There is a need to extend, to share it, to share this. So sharing is gaining, yes. It's the opposite of the dream, of course. We think what we take is what we have. So again, the main point is that this is a dream. I mean, I'm not, some people investigate this and they expose the dream. David Icke says he's exposing the dream world. What value would it be for me in the what value would it be for you if I was in the conversation exposing my dream figure?
No value.
Okay? So it doesn't have any reference and relevance to reality in the conversation. So I'm not exposing the dream world. I'm just saying that we are dreaming together, which means apart. You know what I mean? So we're dreaming, we're apart. So in a sense, we're all doing it together, but with a will to be apart. So that's the madness of the dream. That's the cause of our distress, the willingness to unify with your separate self, your shadow self, is the remedy of dreaming, of course.
Now, are most people programming themselves, or are they being programmed from an outside source?
No, we already covered that. You're willingly programming the AI. You are appearing not to be yourself. That's the ordering system. So if you say the Constitution was derived through dream figures, I would say each dream figure had a willingness not to be itself, and then it was looking for security, so it bound itself together to find the security in the binding. So that's why it's always a boot on your face forever. You're mad. I'm sorry.
And it's unfortunate that if you wear a size 10, that boot is probably a size 10. And it's probably your boot.
Yes. The boot that you place on your face is your boot, yes. In metaphor, yes. I'm not using dream as allegory. We are dreaming.
Right.
So everything you conceive of in your dream, although it seems real, is your willingness to make it real that gives it all its reality. Yes. I mean, that's just a fact. That is a fact. And if you practice this, you will see that I've given this computer, this body itself, all the meaning that it ever has had for me. So if I change my mind about it, everything changes automatically.
Wow. Wow.
So we seek the knowledge of what we truly are. That's what we always have sought. We've sought to remember together the truth about ourselves. That's all we ever sought. That's our security. That's our knowledge is peace. That's our peace. We've sought it in dreaming a separate appearance. So how futile could that be? That's really the timeline of the dream, is how the futility of the dream line. I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. I'm not. It doesn't hold any. The dream holds no surprise, no mystery for me. I'm not no wonderment. To be in wonder, it's a wonderment. Come on, it's a wonder. Who wants to be in wonder? Wondering is insecurity. Wondering is not knowing. What value could there be in not knowing? So yeah, I'm weary of the dream. I'm weary. If I rose today and was what I truly am, that's my goal. That's my goal in the conversation, is to be what I am. Not to be a dream figure. The dream figure is nothing. My small self, my dream figure is nothing. My self, my unification with you is all.
So why is it so hard, or is it? Are we playing out? Not when I say we, I'm not talking about you and I. I'm talking about collectively. Are we playing out um, the whole idea of binding ourselves to an artificial security by creating political parties, armies, nationalities? Are we looking for artificial security by binding ourselves to these specific individual groups that we feel that we align ourselves with, which is looking at it from the conversation is kind of insane.
Well, it's not kind of insane. It's your appearance for value to not be yourself that's insane. That's the source. You're the maker. You're the maker. So it's not insane. You either see it insane, you're seeing insanely, or you're not. Consciousness means to be aware. It's not a noun. It's a verb. I'm raising my consciousness about what? You can either be aware of reality or you can be aware of fiction. I know being aware of fiction has no value. So that's why, this dream could go today. To arise from this dream, and I don't mean anything about destruction or Armageddon or anything like that. When I awaken from this dream goes with me. That's my goal.
Wow.
So the ordering systems, what would you do if you're appearing not as yourself in a chaotic situation of not knowing self, not knowing the other, meum et tuum? What would you do but try to order the other so you could have some semblance of non-chaos, if you will? So you're ordering chaos and then you're trying to reorder it. That is basically the description of the timeline of the dream.
Wow. Wow. Order and chaos.
Yeah, I mean, that's you look into the maxims of secret societies, esoteric, hidden knowledge, and that's always the goal, is to order your own voluntary chaos.
Wow.
This is a different stipulation. It's saying if you're ordering chaos, why don't you just stop ordering chaos and try to, instead of reordering it?